So when you allow yourself to be open-minded enough to speak with someone else who has a different perspective, you want to hear yourself clearly. You want to understand who you are versus who that one you're speaking with is, right? So this particular mentor that I have right now, in order for me to consciously vibrate at his level, I must do things like fast. I must do things like detox. I must do things like meditate more, uh, breathe consciously more, right? Because I need to raise my frequency up to understand that of what he is saying, and to understand who I am, what I think, versus the rhetoric of someone else, to evaluate my thoughts clearly, right? So because I am being open-minded enough, I'm allowing the thoughts of another to be processed in my head and actually considered, right? So in order to do that, you must first understand the way you think, who you are, and what the other person is, so you can know when you've jumped onto something that your mind is saying, oh, that resonates, or how true is this, right? And it's important for you to realize that, because then you're not being programmed. Then you are using your free thinking skills, critical thinking skills, in order to make decisions and blossom like a lotus flower in your own individual spiritual path. And that is important because you never know who you're dealing with, right? I feel like that there are some people who attract strong minds because they understand the power of minds. And if you can get another strong mind to subscribe to your thinking pattern, then they subscribe to your reality. And you can swing that how you want to swing that. But if you understand things like mind control, you understand things like, the fact that there is a hypnotic language and things like that, then you can understand what is happening when a strong mind attracts and teaches open-minded other people who are strong-minded. They can literally create their reality within these people. The way my husband and I were discussing it, he says they get their Ninja Turtles to manifest their reality. Boom, spot on. That's exactly what they can do if you do not know who you are. Once you know who you are, you will catch everything you're supposed to catch to remind you when you are now creating a reality that goes against the one that you actually subscribe to. Okay? Because the reality you should create is the one that is yours, not the fears of anyone or anything else's, no matter how passionate they are. And no matter how well their intentions are. And how I got to this conclusion, I also got to the conclusion of the fact that to truly be yourself in a place of an observer is for you to mostly be living in your subconscious, right? But where's the balance in that, to live in your subconscious only? The balance is that is if you are divine feminine and you've met your divine masculine, or you have your divine masculine in your life, and that divine masculine is not limited to just your husband. It could be your son. It could be a father-daughter. Something like this. It's like a family unit type thing. Or even sometimes if you just have friends who are in the divine masculine, divine feminine. You see that looking at us? So, when you have that divine feminine, that divine masculine, and you finally decide that you have been experiencing things and you now want to analyze it, you talk to that other half, that divine feminine if you're a man, or divine masculine if you're a female. And through there, you are still subconsciously being, because you are discussing it with them and and coming to a conclusion there in the moment of that of what you analyze, and that is the new vibration you have risen to, and you do it together because of the connection of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So y'all, please, let's get this divine feminine, divine masculine stuff together. Arguing over which is which, who is who, what is doing what, that's not important. Just figure out what it means to you to be divine feminine and be that, while understanding what divine masculine looks like, and vice versa. Learn what divine masculine is to you and be that, while learning what divine feminine is. Because if you see it within yourself, then you know the counterpart you are going to attract and want to attract. So it's not about what no one else is saying out here. It's literally about doing that work and figuring out you, speaking to you. So meditate, exercise, detox, fast, eat right, drink more water. Do what you gotta do to vibrate higher and really be able to tune into you. And for a quick commercial break, take a look at one of the 5-star reviews that I got from one of the star peoples who I coach. Good evening, star peoples. I'm your host, friend, and life coach, Mrs.Divine, and I bridge the gap between intuition and intelligence. For the last year, and I would say maybe like a week and a half, I've been doing this challenge secretly to myself. Not really to myself, but people who know me know the challenge I've been doing. And if many of you do not know, the person who actually wrote The Matrix, who actually wrote the storyline for The Matrix, was a black woman named Sophia Stewart. Okay, her work was stolen by the guys who get credit for writing The Matrix now, making The Matrix 1, 2, 3, and I think now 4. I'm not too sure if they're doing 4, but Sophia Stewart is her name. Look it up. She's the mother of The Matrix, the creator of The Matrix, and she is the person who owns the rights to The Matrix. Okay, there's a lot of misinformation out there on her because, of course, they don't want to admit when they're wrong or when they've been caught. And a lot of times these things happen in Hollywood where people get their ideas stolen or their songs stolen, and people just don't have the representation, the legal representation to fight against these things. And sometimes they just chop it up as a loss. But she didn't, and she is the mother of The Matrix, the creator of The Matrix. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to watch Matrix 4. I'm not really interested in it unless for some reason she is the one who put that out, then I'll go see it. But anyway, I did not actually start this challenge a year ago because Matrix 4 was coming out. I had no idea Matrix 4 was coming out, but this is kind of cool because so about a year ago, I learned that a black woman was the creator of, or is the creator of The Matrix. And it made sense, right? I started to realize that, of course, we would be the ones who would make something so spiritual like that, or so futuristic and spot on with the times now, like that. Of course, that was us who tapped into that knowledge. They act like it ain't us, but it was us. And, it just started to make sense then, right? Which is why the Oracle was who she was, and things like that. Anyway, so when I found out she was a black woman, I started researching her and things like that. So I started, watching a bunch of interviews, reading a bunch of documents of hers. And one of her interviews, she talked about the hot water therapy. And for hot water therapy, she was saying, well, she didn't say it was called hot water therapy. Doing some research, I was able to see, what she was talking about. But what she said is that every a.m. when you rise, start your day off by drinking hot water. She said not no lemon in it, not no hot tea, hot water, plain hot water, and see the benefits that you get from it. Now, she claimed, so the way she put it in the interview was, you drink the hot water at the start of your AM, and uh, like I said, plain hot water, and have that the first thing that you ingest uh, when you rise. Allow yourself 15 to 20 minutes before eating anything else or drinking anything else, and then you can start your day. So what that's supposed to do is then you can start your day. Then you can start eating other things, right? So what that is supposed to do is it's supposed to help your digestive system. And if you are a person who doesn't have a bowel movement every day, it's supposed to help you go every day. That wasn't an issue of mine. Um, but it makes your skin clear, supposedly. It helps you lose weight, supposedly. Basically, anything that's going on with your body, you basically jumpstart to help your body to start fixing itself, right? To start correcting anything that are problem areas. So I wanted to see the truth of this because a lot of times when we are doing our spiritual work, right, when our consciousness is growing and we're learning new things, some things just seem very challenging to do because it requires you to change your entire routine, something that you have to really be aware and put a lot of energy and effort into. Some other things that are suggested to do or that you may learn seem so easy. It's like, what's the point of doing that? It probably doesn't work, right? Sometimes it's funny because sometimes we go after the easier route. For example, if you want to lose weight, people will take a pill that can claim to help them lose 20 pounds in a week, right? But then other times we see an easy route and we think it's too easy, it doesn't work. So I think we need to make up our mind. But anyway, I like when I find easy stuff because I figure, oh, that's drink water at the start of your day. First thing, wait 15 or 20 minutes before you eat or ingest anything else. Oh, I could do that. That's pretty easy, right? So I did that. I did do that. I did it for a year. And then I was going to report back to y'all in a year to tell y'all my results, right? I didn't want it to seem like one of those things where, oh, I tried it for a week and it didn't do anything, right? I wanted to actually try it and see what it did because I'm also a firm believer in some things just take time, and I think that's the moral of the story right now, right? So people around me, they knew I was doing it. Some people were like, oh, wow, yeah, my grandma used to do that. And she said it helped with back pains or whatever, right? So when people give me a little information, like what they heard it helped with or what other people who they knew who did it regularly, and it's a lot of times it was people who were older, an older generation that they did it, that would start to increase my awareness to what I was actually experiencing while doing this because it seems so simple that of course, when I first rise, it's the first thing on my mind, right? But then throughout my day, it really wasn't. And so I would say maybe 3 months into this challenge of mine, I started researching this theory of drinking hot water because I didn't know it was called hot water therapy. And then I came across more articles and stuff, and it's something called hot water therapy. But the thing is it's not limited to just drinking hot water first thing in the AM when you rise. It's also just throughout the day, right? So basically how you would reach for something to drink or a glass of cold water or something or just water, like your water bottle, you would actually be replacing it with drinking hot water, right? And so I guess 3 out of this year, maybe like 3 months of it was just me doing it in the AM first thing when I rose. But then it turned into me doing the hot water therapy a couple of times throughout the day, consciously. And so I can't say it was all the time, at least 3, but I do know it was more than just the AM when I rose. So I'm going to tell you some of the things I experienced with it. I'm going to read it to make sure that I don't forget. Because like I said, this was over a year. And it's interesting that I didn't find out the true effects of it until I went without it. But anyway, so let's see. So of course, like I said, I definitely had bowel movement every day, but that's something that I'm used to anyway. I no longer had much time to ingest my smoothies and my teas in the AM. So normally, before I did the hot water therapy, I like to start off my day with making a smoothie or having some hot tea. But it's like after you finally get some hot water and finally, ingest it out because it's hot, right? It's kind of like tea. It's not something you just quickly, down and that's it. After you do that, it's like how much more time in your AM do you have before you're off to do the next thing, right? So it takes up just about as much time as drinking tea. And I actually no longer started to crave tea or coffee. The hot drinks that we normally like to crave because they just make us feel good inside. Plain hot water was good enough. Okay. Um, the back pains. So normally when my period's going to start, that's when I start to feel like lower back pains. That's how I know it's going to be coming soon, right? That was if I felt any back pains and I drank some hot water, it went away like that. It was like taking an aspirin for something. But I barely even felt any back pain at all. But I know normally that's how I would detect it. And then if I did feel any back pain, it was because my period was coming, and I would just drink hot water and it would be gone. Another thing, you feel after you drink it, you feel your digestive system activate. Okay, so I was detecting myself like having more gas release, like I was burping or whatever, like, gas was being released from my body. And that also is a big cause of back pains and stuff too for people, is that there's trapped gas, that just can't get out. So I experienced that. What else? Oh, and I guess a negative side effect of it, in my opinion, negative side effect of it, for lack of better words, is just that um, I didn't drink as much water as I normally do, simply because my mind was, I guess, just fixated on making sure I drank some hot water. And then just the time it consumed to do that, it was like I wasn't thinking about water, really no kind of drinks, after finally getting the hot water, down. So those are some of the things I experienced. It did nothing for weight loss for me. Like she claimed when she was reporting it, like, oh, it'll clear your skin, it'll make you drop weight. If you need to drop weight, it'll make you gain weight if there's areas where you need to gain weight at. It didn't do that with me when it came to like weight at all. My weight pretty much stayed the same, and I purposely, strategically stopped myself from doing anything drastic, like changing my workout, you know, changing up my diet. I wanted to strictly see what it was like. And she claimed down there, you don't have to do anything different. You don't have to work out. You don't have to change your diet. It just will. It's just like magic. It's just gonna come off, right? So I purposely was trying to see if I just left everything the same, how true these things were, like what the experience would be. And so it did nothing. Basically I maintained my weight. That's just what it was, and I did not do anything to expedite weight loss or anything like that. I didn't change how I ate. I didn't increase workouts, nothing like that. Just regular stuff, regular how I was always doing it. Um, but what I will say is that I had originally started to do this video about a week ago. Like I would say like the day after my year was up. And I set my year like on a special day for me, right? So I knew when the year came up, and I couldn't wait for it to come up, and I was gonna do the video right away. But I stopped myself from doing the video. I just didn't. I just didn't either. I didn't have the time to do it, or I just felt like I wanted to uh, give everything I got from this experience, right? I didn't want to forget anything. So I was trying to make sure I wrote down. That's why I actually wrote it down, different things that I saw or didn't see, because I wanted to pinpoint exactly what my experience was. But anyway, so like a week went by, a week and a couple of days. And what I started to notice was, of course, when my menstruation did happen, of course, I felt the back pain, and I knew it was coming. Like all the symptoms I had before of letting me know that my period was coming, I had it. Another thing is breaking out. My face started breaking out, and you could see like I purposely didn't wear makeup like on my face like that, like, but not like on my face. I started breaking out. I haven't broke out like this in a very long time, like very long time, like over a year. And I mean, it's just like everywhere. It's just like I'm a teenager again. And it's like after I find one problem spot and it starts to heal, it comes up somewhere else. But that's something I've noticed, that it actually, the hot water therapy has something to it when it at least comes to how it aids with the digestive system and what it does for your skin. I guess how it detoxifies your skin. So I actually want to get back to it. And I think me not doing it for an experiment, me doing it for a me seeing the benefits of it and doing it like just for a lifestyle change, I'll probably even have even different results because I'm not looking forward to anything, right? I'm just saying this is something that has benefited me, so I'm going to do it. So anyway, I like to do easy challenges like that, where if it's something that we can easily change or incorporate into our lives that will benefit us drastically, um, that we have proof of some sort. Like you're your ultimate proof, right? You are the one who is the ultimate source of authority when it comes to what is your truth. And that's why I do these things, because for me, I can hear someone say it like I've heard lots of people say things like, oh, I tried drinking a gallon of water every day for a month and here's what happened to me. And then as they're telling you their story, they may say, oh, I drank a gallon of water for a month, but on the fourth day, I didn't really drink it. I didn't really feel like it. So only had like a couple ounces of water or a couple of bottles of water, and that was it. Or on this day, I also drank this, or it was a birthday party, so I had some pop. And to me, it's like you've contaminated your experience, your experiment. You've contaminated your experiment. And so I don't like when people do things like that where they tell you that they're going to give you a review on something that they've tried to tell you what they got from it, but they don't actually follow through. Because then see, you have no reference point. You can't say you know someone who's done it and here's what it is, here's what happens. And some of you don't know me personally, but the ones who do know that I have done it. And I mean, it was challenging too, because there were, I would say, the most challenging times that there were with this hot water therapy, right? Would it being the first thing you drink in the AM when you rise, is when I would go on vacation, when I was not at home in my proper setting where everything is set up for me, right, to make it easy and convenient. It was very challenging because sometimes I wouldn't find any hot water because I'd have to like leave. Like let's say I was in a hotel room or something like that. Um, if they had hot water down there, cool. I would have to get up and go down there and go get it. It wasn't as easy as it being in my own home. I had to actually get dressed and everything first and then go get it. Sometimes it wasn't where I was at, my hotel room or whatever, and then I would have to find the nearest gas station that had hot water, or Dunkin' Donuts or coffee shop or something that had hot water. So those were like my most challenging times because I literally could not eat, could not drink anything until I got that hot water in my system. And let me see another challenging. Oh, and then I don't drink tap water, right? So that was challenging too on days where like I knew I was getting low on bottled water and I didn't go to the store and get some more. And I was like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Not considering the fact that I am doing this hot water challenge, right? So then when I do it tomorrow and I get up and I realize I don't have any water in there besides tap water. Like there was one day where I just had to suck it up and boil some tap water and drink it. And I was like disgusted the whole time, just simply disgusted. And all I could think of is like one time when I was feeding my ancestors, right? I I didn't have any more bottled water for them either, right? So I got them some tap water, like, whatever. Put some tap water up there. And the response I got from doing that was the same way I felt when I drank that water. Like, disgusting. This is what you give us, like that. And so it was like, now I got to experience it. And it was absolutely disgusting, even drinking it boiled. So I don't recommend tap water for anybody unless you have to. Of course, we're fortunate enough to have tap water in our house, but I don't prefer to drink it. So anyway, so times like that when I just didn't have the type of water I drink on demand, it was challenging because you just have to wait longer. And not only just wait longer, you have to, still drive. You have to go about your day until you get what you're going to get, which is that water. So, but I do see benefit in it. I do see the value of the hot water therapy. And yeah, my experiment was kind of not really botched because I did start every AM off with it like that, like I was instructed to do before I did my actual, digger deeping into what she was saying and realized it was an actual thing, not just something she was saying, just try. And so I saw that you just are supposed to drink more, not just in the AM, but throughout your day. And that was like 3 months of me just doing it at first for just the AM routine. But then as I started to incorporate more, that's so I wouldn't say the whole year was complete hot water therapy, but besides the 3 months of me just doing it in the AM, but the rest of the time it was throughout the day as well. So if that seems simple enough for you to start, because like I said, I like seemingly easy routes of advancing your spirituality. And I will say that right now, the spiritual path I'm on is at a level that I'm just actually bored with talking to people. The level I'm at spiritually is, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it, but it's at a point where I know where I'm at spiritually. I don't see no one around me like that who is there, right? And so then at first I was craving conversations. I was craving time spent with those who are conscious and more aware than others that I know. But even spending time with them, they were not where I was at, where I was feeling kind of lonely, I guess. And not lonely because I need people around me, but lonely because when it comes to having a conversation, these conversations, y'all, I'd be so bored in, because it's like, first of all, it's like I'm talking about, first of all, it's like a lot of people who call me are closed-minded individuals. They don't realize that they're closed-minded individuals, but I realize it. And the minute we start to talk about something they don't necessarily agree with or have no knowledge about or whatever, they just try to reinforce what they believe. Me, I like to feel like I'm so open-minded, or even the things I feel like I think I know, I'm willing to explore and engage and research and have conversations about these things, that even if people are saying it, this what you thought you knew isn't right, or here's what I know, right? And so I like to be that open-minded where I allow the ideas and opinions of others to penetrate my mind and make me think upon that, right? So when it comes to the whole, should you be vaccinated, not vaccinated, whatever, these conversations are so freaking boring to me, because they're so boring to me, okay? There's nothing to talk about to a person who can choose one side of it and then point the finger at the other side and say something bad about them, right? Point the finger at the other side and say what they should or shouldn't have done, right? Because there is no sides. Yeah, God, this is ridiculous. There is no sides. Anyway, the conversations are getting so boring. I'm dealing with a lot of closed-minded individuals, and then those who aren't closed-minded, and they are at least open-minded. I wouldn't even say that they're conscious or aware or anything like that, but they're open-minded. The things that they have to say, the things that are consuming their minds, are like things that are so irrelevant to me. And that's not saying that I can't empathize. I can empathize. I can understand. I could have been experienced the same thing, but it's just not something that's worthy of my words, worthy of my conversation. And so a lot of times I find myself ready to get off the phone. I don't want to answer the phone. If I am on the phone, even if I'm talking to them for hours, it's literally because, they're expressing something to me, but I'm simply not interested. I can do without the whole conversation. And it's not that I'm being rude. It's just that I'm at the point right now where the things that entertain my mind are ready to jump out. And I don't have the audience for it to jump out as far as the people who I talk to in my inner circle, the people who I have access to. And so, actually, like right now, I'm doing something, like I said, and I said it in a couple of videos ago, and this is the closest I get toward people who understand the way I think, right? But even with them understanding the way I think, they don't necessarily understand where I'm at with my thinking. But it's literally to the point where if I'm going to speak, if I'm going to have a conversation, I really intend for it to be meaningful. Not on this just catching up because I ain't seen you in a long time. How are you? Let's talk about everything under the sun. There are some things I have to just be okay with letting people talk and me just listening. Now, they might not like that because people like feedback, right? They like to, girl, this happened and da-da-da-da. And they want you to have a reaction to what they're saying. And people already said I was limited on my reactions. Like, girl, you can't call her if you're going through this because she gonna act like this. And, sometimes you want people to turn up with you when you're ready to turn up. And I get that about me a lot from people who I know. But, I feel myself turn that dial all the way down. Like me, I would at least think that, me saying something is me letting you know, like, girl, I feel you, I'm here with you, or I understand, or whatever the case is, or yeah, you was right about that, or girl, you shouldn't have did that, right? But I'm at the point now where it's like, girl, this isn't that happening. I'm like, oh, okay, what you gonna do about that? Oh, okay, good. Or, oh, we'll see how that works for you. And then I'm moving it along, or I'm ready to get off the phone. Like, okay, well, was it something else she was calling me for? Because there are so many other things I could be doing. And I'm just at the point now where I'm getting okay. I'm getting okay with the boredom. Okay, so I said talking on the phone is boring. It's getting boring to me. And it's not just the phone either. It's just like people who want to have conversations and the conversations aren't what I want to have. They're not what's in here. So it's almost like there's no point of talking to people sometimes. But I'm getting okay. The boring conversations are, I guess, kind of irritating me a little bit because it is rude to not answer your phone for people when they call you, right? It is rude for you. And I already have phone boundaries, so it's not like I'm on the phone all day. But it is rude for somebody to call you and express to you, whatever they're saying to you, and you have literally nothing. It's like they're talking to a brick wall. That's how I want to respond. I want to respond by just letting it pass through me. And then being like, hello, are you there? Do you hear me? Yeah, I'm here. That's just what I want to say. I just want to say, yeah, I'm here. And that's it. I don't want them to be like, did you hear what I said? But anyway, what I was saying is, I'm getting bored with conversations simply because of that fact that I just don't feel like there's many people worth having a conversation with. Yeah, my husband, I can have a conversation with him because that's different. Like, he understands what's in here. And even if he doesn't understand, he knows what I'm saying. He feels me where we can get to what I'm actually saying that's in there. And my mentors, they understand what's in here and we can get there. But that's it. My husband and my mentors, that's who I have. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm getting to a point where I'm understanding that it's okay to be bored in other aspects of life, right? Sometimes I realize I have been bored with these conversations a long time ago. But the reason why I have entertained them for so long is because of the fact that sometimes life can seem like it's getting boring, right? When you change up your lifestyle, your spirituality and things like that, and you are no longer this person who goes to seek things outside of yourself, adventure and thrill and things like that, you realize that in order to actually be in the flow and true oneness with yourself and aligned with consciousness and divine and all that stuff, you no longer seek these thrilling, exciting adventures, right? That was me a long time ago. I was chasing adventure, right? I still enjoy, I still have a joyous time when I, do adventurous type stuff, but it doesn't take much now to bring out a thrilling type of experience in me, right? But I mean, I don't have to go skydive to get that. Like I used to have to. Like I used to have to do these kind of things, y'all, to get this feeling of excitement within me. Um, but it's not like that anymore, right? I used to have to drink. I used to go out with people. I used to have to see drama to get these feelings inside of me to get me to really feel something. But it's not like that anymore. Like I sense when I'm at peace, when I'm in tranquility. I sense when I'm in the flow. I sense this, and this is where I'm maintaining, right? This is where I want to be. So sometimes doing that means that you realize a lot of the things that your mind has been programmed to do to stimulate itself or to keep, to stimulate itself, has been removed. And because you're used to activity all the time, whether it's coming from the TV being on or somebody talking about something happened, you're just used to I realized I was addicted to thinking, okay? I realized I was addicted to my mind working, addicted to thinking, which is why I say a lot of these conversations are boring because they don't get me thinking, okay? These conversations just be like for peons. Like, I'm not, y'all, people be talking to me and my mind doesn't activate at all. It was like when I was at work and before I quit that job and I could be there all day and feel like I have not used my mind this whole entire time I was here. The whole 8 hours, my mind did not need to be here. I could have did this as just with my mind somewhere else and me just sitting here doing all this, right? And that's how I was feeling with these conversations, is why I say the phone is boring or the conversations are boring. But I'm realizing that I don't need that. I realize that my mind is set on thinking, being stimulated. And to be in the flow, you don't need to be stimulated, right? And that's what I have to get used to. As I'm feeling less and less stimulation, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to feel bored. Like I said, it's uncomfortable being on the phone with people who I love to talk to. It's just that it's not stimulating for me anymore. But here's the thing though, so why not just stay on the phone with them if it's okay to not be stimulated, right? Because what they're talking about is low vibrational. The way they talk is low vibrational. If you call me in the AM and you say good, the M word, that's not, I don't want to hear that. It's low vibrational. You're trying to force your reality into mine. And, you know how I feel about that, right? Or you're talking away where you're speaking death over yourself or other people. And, it's the way people talk is so low vibrational and they don't understand it. And I literally hear it and I feel it. And it's not worth me being bored on the phone because I'm inviting myself into that space. I can't just be in the flow at that, because then that means that I'm kind of allowing it to play into my reality, right? It's like I'm accepting those words. So I just need to get off the phone with them. But there are other aspects in life when you can allow yourself to just be present, right? Sometimes being present seems boring to us because we are so used to this life, this fast-paced lifestyle where things are just going, we're so busy, things are just going left and right. You're always this worker bee lifestyle. There's always got to have something to do, running out the house to go hang out with your friends, getting drunk, getting high, like always doing something to distract you from getting to know you, from the inside, to getting you to know yourself. And it's uncomfortable because we're not trained like that. We're not trained to just sit there and be idle. If we start daydreaming in class, what's happening? Someone's snapping at you, calling your name, saying, hello, are you still here? We asked you for the answer to number 3. You're not allowed to just sit there and be. We're always taught to keep busy. Like even us with our kids, right? Okay, have them in this sport, this activity. Like they don't, what are we taught? We are taught that what is it called? Something about the devil's playground. I want to say it's like it's not like the bored mind is the devil's playground, but it's something like that. I'll think of it eventually. But yeah, it can. They basically say like a mind that's like still, that has nothing to do. Someone who's bored, has access to the devil, or the devil has the playground, access to your playground, access to your mind, because you're so bored. You're gonna do all types of stuff just because you're bored, right? And that's how we're kind of programmed to think that being bored is a bad thing. And the kids, I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. There's nothing to do here. Nothing's wrong with that. Actually, the silence is how you activate your higher intelligence, right? When we meditate, we're meditating to get to that silent space. We're meditating to stop the thoughts from just running through our head at lightning speed, right? When I went to the Vipassana, I'll talk about that experience a lot because it comes up a lot. But when I went to the Vipassana, it took about 3 days, maybe. About 3 days before I stopped being able to hear my son's voice in my head. Before that, it was constant, nonstop. Like, I could not imagine a day without him. Mommy, mommy, mommy this, mommy that, mommy that. My son talks a lot, okay? And I encourage him to talk, right? So I talk to him a lot. But it took 3 days before everything, I think, any kind of input I had in here just was gone. And the only thing I was thinking about is, ooh, there was a breeze that just went by. Oh, I just saw a leaf. Fly by, right? Like, I'm just focusing on exactly what's happening at that moment. But it took 3 days for that. And the last thing I remember is my son's voice in my head. And after that had passed, there was no thoughts in there. And so the only things that were being input was what was happening then. And of course, whatever we did when we were, learning in there and like meditating or whatever. But that's the point of meditation. The point of meditation is to tame that instinct within, for you to be thinking all the time, for things to always be running through your mind, and you to be thinking about the next step is to put you in the present, the here and now. And a lot of times, the here and now, there ain't much going on. We're always searching for, oh, what would our future look like? What are we going to be doing then? Or in the past, this and that happened. We don't like to stay in the present moment, or we're not trained to stay in the present moment because we're always jumping to the past and into the future. Back to the past and into the future, okay? So, but the present moment is where it's at. The present moment is actually where we find that peace, that quiet that we need to jump to the next level and whatever it is we're doing, okay? And we don't access that as much. I know I personally don't, because I realized I was addicted to thinking. Now, I thought at one point that thinking, because like I said, where I'm thinking at, I don't like to have conversations unless it's going to take me from where I'm currently thinking to the next level thinking of that, or the next level thinking of something else, or investigating how what I was thinking wasn't even what it was. I like my mind to be stimulated if I'm going to engage in a conversation with anyone else, if I'm going to engage in anything. Not even if I'm talking to someone else, if I'm going to engage in anything, I want it to be mentally stimulating for me, because that's the only thing important enough to disturb my peace, right? Is the fact that it's going to mentally stimulate me. So I used to feel like I was at peace when I was thinking in my head, and thinking so much in my head that I was able to basically get myself out of like I could be in a chaotic environment and still it seemed like I'm meditating, because I'm tuning it all out, because I'm paying attention to what's in my head, right? And I'm just going through different things, either that I'm researching, that I learned, or whatever. And then this adds up and that's it. Like, I'm just constantly communicating with the thoughts in my head, right? And I thought that was where it was at, because I was going from the thinker to the knower. I was stuck in that realm, right? I was thinking things, discovering things, thinking things, discovering things, knowing things. Like, that's what I like to do. And I realized that addiction comes in many forms, y'all. Addiction is not just about drugs and alcohol. It's not just about, your phone. Addiction for me is thinking, right? I am addicted to thinking, and so basically I'm addicted to my mind being mentally stimulated. And so, and I feel like a lot of us are, which is why we can get so caught up in things like, the news, or our Google feeds. Like you go on Google and it has this story and that story and that story, and it could just take you down a rabbit hole right there because you like to be mentally stimulated. You like to think. Um, but anyway, that's where I was at, and when I realized I was addicted to thinking, that takes me from the balance of who we really are. Right? I should be the person who's able to do things, to just be. I should be the person who's able to think and the person who's able to know. That should all be a balance. I should not just be a thinker all the time, right? I do not need to have my mind mentally stimulated at every moment, because then how do I allow access for new things and higher intelligence to come through if I am always thinking within the same realm and context that's already accessible to me, right? So the reason why we meditate, once again, is to create that silence, to find that silence that's within us. So a way that I am currently finding my silence is through allowing myself to get to a space of quote unquote boredom. Okay? So what is that going to look like for me? That may look like me not having many conversations on the phone, me keeping them really short when I start to get to the point where it's like, okay, thanks for calling. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Like, unless you're my customer, and I'm talking to you for a session, that's different because we're working, right? And that's not even me thinking that's a whole different ball game. That is not the same because it's not my stuff. It's their stuff, and it's not me thinking. It's just me interacting, me reading and transmitting energy. That's what that is. So that's completely different. But so there's no boredom there because it's just a different thing that's happening there. But what's going to change though is these conversations that are not with my customers, right? These are not sessions. These are just people who are calling me, people who I love and care about dearly, but basically gonna say we gotta say, and that's gonna be it. And if there is nothing to say, okay, I'll talk to you later. Like, we're not gonna do that. I'm also gonna allow myself to not, like, during this time, like, I know why I'm doing these Wisdom Week sessions, right? You guys don't really know why I'm doing it, but I know why I'm doing it. And during this time of me doing this, I am hearing and seeing myself clearly, right? And so I'm going to allow myself to continue to do what I've been doing. In order to do this, I had to stay off of YouTube. I had to stop seeking spiritual conscious information and things like that, because these things, once again, they stop me from seeing my own experience, because I'm jumping to, oh, this person. So like I said, even with the hot water challenge, I heard her speaking and that's what stood out for me, right? So I know that there's benefits of it, but there's also benefits of just getting your own insight, having your own insight. And if you come across some insight that's like yours, that's great. It's validation, right? If you come across information that is different from what you were thinking, okay, that's great too. What more is there to investigate? What's the truth? What's your truth? But not looking at YouTube for spiritual information, right? Not looking at anything spiritual, because that's the things that stimulate me. Spiritual things stimulate me. So I had to restrict myself from seeking out spiritual things. And what that has done is that has caused a void in my mind for the most part. It has become an open space. And when I detect that open space, it shows up as boredom, right? But I have to realize it's not really boredom. It's that silence. It's that connection. And with that silence and that connection, I can see and hear me clearly. And I can see and hear the universe clearly. And I can see and hear others clearly. Okay? So then things just naturally come through. Things manifest better, quicker. And there's nothing muddling my space, right? My space is clear, because I need my head to be clear for me to reach that silence and get clear on the reality that I am manifesting. Okay? And that's what I'm seeing happening right now. So allow yourself to get bored. See what that does for you. Allow yourself to get bored and know there's a purpose behind it. If you know there's a purpose behind it, and you know that you're communicating with that silence, that higher intelligence, then you'll be okay. If you don't know that that's what you're doing, Boredom can become the devil's playground. Okay. Oh, there you go. An idle mind is the devil's playground. That's what they used to say. Idle mind is a devil's playground. And I guess, I guess that could be. Or it could be the opposite. Remember the law of polarity? One or the other. It can go to one extreme or the other extreme. So if you don't know what you're doing and you're bored, your mind, your idle mind could be the devil's playground. It could lead you to do things that are not in your best light or anyone else's best light just because you're that bored. But if you understand what that boredom is, that it's really just silence, really just you connecting and truly being present and being in the flow, then it can serve you wonders because it will connect you to the divine mind.